When preparing once again to go to a club, this woman looked in the mirror and admired her beauty, saying that she loved this outfit and that she will enjoy the night. She will dance like there's no tomorrow. Before going to the bathroom to put on makeup because her intention is to rock this club, and again she says that tonight she will enjoy this night, and hopes that her husband does not call her to go to church. She says she doesn't have patience to go to church and that, in fact, she does not have time to be praying every day as well as her husband. And soon she decides to send a voice message to her friend saying that she is ready. She says she looks beautiful and asks her friend to come beautiful too, because she wants to rock this party, and that she can come get her, because she is ready to go. A little later, she was waiting for her friend, who was already taking a long time, when suddenly her husband arrives asking why she was dressed like that. She plays dumb, but he asks where she is going, so she decides to tell him that she is going to a party. Her husband doesn't like this at all, but the wife replies that she is tired of telling him that she likes to party, that after he converted he only wants to pray and go to church. Her husband asks her if she is aware of what she is doing with her life, and then he says that this is why he converted, that he realized that there is no happiness in this, so he asks her to take care of her relationship with him and to go to church more. Without patience, she replies that one only lives once, and asks him to put this into his head, because we will die one day and everything will end, and that it's not because he doesn't like partying that she must stop going because of him. Trying to avoid a fight, he says that he really must enjoy life, but there are other ways to do so. She makes fun of her husband, and he asks her to stop saying that, because going to church is being so good for him. The husband says that it will be good for her too, and that people always ask about her, and that it doesn't make sense for him to arrive with a wedding ring alone. His wife answers him that it makes no sense, because he never goes where she likes either, so she says that she is already out of patience. Her husband tries to talk, but she angrily interrupts him and says that since he is going to church, he should pray for her. Her husband then asks with whom she is going, and leaving she answers that she is going with her friend William. She quickly opens the door, and her friend enters greeting her with a hug. Her friend compliments her saying that she looks beautiful and is really going to rock. Then she thanks her and says that her friend also looks beautiful. Before she goes, her friend asks her to borrow some lipstick because she forgot it, so she replies that she can use the one in her room, and the two of them go towards her room. Her husband calls her into the corner to talk, and the two of them begin to argue quietly without her friend being able to hear, so he says that this friend is unreliable and that she won't even go to church. His wife gets angry, but he asks her to please come to her senses. Without patience, she says that they are already leaving, but her husband asks her not to leave because he is feeling something bad. The wife asks if he doesn't want to go to the hospital. Then the husband replies that he is serious, that he felt something bad about her going out with this friend. But the wife doesn't listen, and says that she's never been better. So, she says she's leaving and says goodbye to her husband. And alone he begins to complain that his wife no longer has any sense. Leaving the room, they talk about how they are going to dance a lot today. They say goodbye to her husband, and the wife asks him to please not call her, because he knows very well that she has no time to return and that the parties end in the morning. Her husband again asks her not to leave, and says that he already told her what he was feeling. Then he looks at her friend and asks her if her husband lets her do these things. Then the friend answers yes, and that her husband doesn't regulate her like he does with his wife. Her husband just asks her to listen to him again, because he doesn't want her to go out today, and insists that she goes to church with him today. Then she starts joking, saying about how could she give up going to a club to go to church. Then she says that the day she has nothing to do, that it would be difficult, then she will go to church. He says that his mother invited her to go to church, but she doesn't accept, and she gives him goodbye, saying that people have already arrived. Her husband asks who is going, so she says everyone's name. Her husband calmly asks her at least not to drink alcohol, and the two begin to laugh, asking how they can go to a party and not drink, so she says he can relax because she won't drink much. Her husband gets very upset, so she says that she is doing what she likes, which is what people do, because you only live once. Her husband blesses them. But they start laughing, saying that he goes in the trunk because the car is full, and says goodbye to him once again. When they leave, he talks to himself that he can't believe it, and says that his wife is not the same anymore, and that she still mocks him by saying that he is going in the trunk. Then he picks up his cell phone and decides to make a call to his mother. When she answers, he greets her. In a very sad voice, he says that he is getting ready to go to church. His mother asks him if he is well. And he answers yes, but he will tell her when he sees her in person. Then he also answers that his wife is not going to church again, and then explains that it was her decision, she decided to lead this life. Then he tells his mother that he will just change his clothes and soon he'll arrive at church, and let her know that he won't be long. His mother replies that she is already arriving and that she will wait for him. So the two of them say goodbye and he ends the call. A few hours later, the husband comes home and hoping that his wife has returned, he starts to call her. But realizes that he is still alone, even though he calling several times. So, he decides to call her to see if she's still at the party and if everything is okay. When he makes the call, he realizes that her cell phone is turned off. And soon after receives a voice message from her friend William. He, quite curious, decides to hear what she has to say. And when he opens the voice message, he gets startled by what he hears. Her friend said she tried to call him several times, but he did not answer, and that she has very sad news to tell him. Then she says that when they were going to the club, they had a serious car accident, a lot of people were injured and, unfortunately, his wife died. And the strangest thing is that the only place in the car that was intact was the trunk. She apologizes to him for not listening, and for having encouraged his wife to go out that night, but unfortunately it happened. And crying, she ends the voice message. That sad news leaves him very shaken, and after hearing all the voice message he begins to scream in despair, not believing that it was true. Think carefully about the choices you are going to make for your life, because it may be that some of them you cannot take back.